Igagasi FM, the sound of the city.
Welcome to it. It's another session of The Fresh Cuts with myself, DJ Lab. You're tuned into Igagasi FM. And tonight, I think we're hanging out with the reason why we're all here, as enthusiasts of the subgenre that is hip-hop. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Sabona.
How are you?
Everything good.
And to a person that doesn't recognize the voice, do you mind introducing yourself?
This is Brother Africa Bambata of the Universal Zulu Nation.
Short and sweet, like that. All right. The accolades, I think everybody knows what you've been able to achieve over the past, I think, close to 4 decades now, as one of the founding fathers of the art form that has now come to take over the world as we know it from a cultural point of view. If I may ask, I think I have a few personal questions, and I've got questions from some of our listeners who are interested in knowing what brings you to South Africa now in 2016.
What brings me to South Africa is spirituality and getting among my people, my ancestors here, and meeting all the great princes and the other prince, and seeing the king, and coming here for Shaka Zulu anniversary of our people, and the heritage and the culture of our people, and to get the spirituality and the love of our people to take back to my people over in the United States and to the rest of the Universal Zulu all over this earth.
Thank you, man. At home, if you don't know what's happening currently, Zulu as a nation is celebrating 200 years, yes? So I think it's timely that we have Africa Bambatha blessing us at this time. So outside of you reconnecting with the past and the current and the future as well, what else is it that you're busy with in South Africa?
Well, I've been busy traveling all over the land and seeing all the goodness that was done of our indigenous past and our indigenous present, and sitting among many of the different leaders and teachers that I have met, and learning and teaching each other and speaking to each other, whether it be with certain problems that we might be facing as so-called black people, economic problems that we are dealing with that's going on over here, as well as we have going over there in the United States, America Republic, and showing that we all got some type of understanding and all type of problems that many of us in private has to sit down and concentrate on clearing these type of situations up.
All right, man. Oh, nice. So a lot of people who might not understand the purpose of you beginning your movement back in the 70s, what inspired you to leave the life that you were leading and to say, okay, let's try to figure it out through music? What is it that gave birth and rise to hip hop?
Well, what gave birth and rise to hip hop is many of the different music that we had at the time, whether it be soul music, R&B music, hearing the great sound of the king of soul. I don't say the godfather of soul, because he's higher than the godfather. We got to put him back in his rightful status, and that's the king of soul, James Brown. Hearing the great Sly and the Family Stone, hearing Parliament Funkadelic with George Clinton, hearing the great Queen Aretha Franklin, the Motown sound, the Volkswagen sound, hearing all the poetry that was going on with Sister Sonia Sanchez, Wanda Ramos, hearing Gil Scott-Heron, the Last Poets, the Watts Prophets. You know, we always had roots in the sound of rap music, but when it came among us, the Grandmaster Flash, the Kool Hercs, the Africa Bambaataa, the Funky Four, that's when we decided to call our sound hip hop. And the movement that we was doing, we decided to call it a culture and call it hip hop.
Do you feel? I think chatting to a lot of people that are music enthusiasts, they gift. I think possibly in the 90s to the 70s, because a lot of producers were taking records from that era, 70s, late 60s, do you think that the 70s now are still influencing the music that we're currently listening to? Do you listen to the latest releases? Actually, maybe let me start there.
I listen to whether it's latest releases. I still love the true school, what some say the old school, and most people when they say hip hop, they don't understand what is hip hop. You know, when they say hip hop, all they think is a rapper. They don't understand it's a whole culture, a whole movement. They don't understand the DJs, the B-boys, the MCs, the aerosol writers, or what you call graffiti writers. And they don't understand that fifth element, which holds it all together, which is the knowledge, which is really the first element, but it's the knowledge that keeps everything in control. Because, yes, we still using the same sounds of many years ago. Many people swear a lot of these songs are new if they have Puff Daddy or
flipping a record.
Yeah, man, they don't know that a lot of stuff is coming from the higher players, Sly Stone, James Brown, Cameo,
Isley
all that.
Brothers,
Isley Brother, all that.
A bunch of that. And your sentiments to quote unquote remixing or taking old records and flipping it, like what was your feeling when that era ushered itself in?
I love it, man. I still love it today. When you get a DJ that remix certain songs, or old song, even a rap song, and flip it and put other sounds, just like my song on Planet Rock, the most sampled record in hip hop, and to see so many different ways that people have used it, whether it be in Bally Funk, whether it be in the Miami bass or house or techno or any other style of music, just to see a DJ, how powerful he could get to change a whole sound, or even take something that's old and remix it and funk it up and bring it back with his new style for a new generation.
All right. So the current mainstream appeal of hip hop, when I say mainstream, like across, like culturally, how people are dressing, how people are even talking, do you feel that it's managed to hang on to its soul? Has there been a depletion of sorts, or like, do you still look forward? I don't know if you listen to the extremely new kids. Do you still look forward to a new record dropping?
Well, I feel a lot of hip hop music, some of it has been compromised. Many had just got caught on to, I just want to make money and don't give a damn about the culture side of hip hop. I feel that many need to understand where hip hop came from, where is that today, and where we need to be going for the future. You can't be just making songs all day and night just talking about niggas, bitches, and hoes, and you know, having no part of no type of consciousness of what's going on with you and around the world. That means that you are still a slave to the system. As Grace Jones says, slave to the rhythm, but you're a slave to the system. Because when you think you saying something, you think you got all this money, you just making peanuts compared to what's really controlling you. So we got to understand what is going on in the industry and how they controlling the minds of the masses of the people and how they dumbing down many of the people around the world.
All right. Sorry about that. So there's a documentary that's being shot in South Africa. Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a bit of background on that?
Well, we're doing a documentary called Zulu Journey, where coming back to seeing our great brothers and sisters and brothers here, seeing the prince, all the different princes and the different groups that we had here, and understanding our heritage, our culture, what was back then, where we at today, knowing our gods and our goddesses, and understanding who we are as a people, and understanding the problems that we still face as a people, dealing with the economic system with so-called black woman and man here that still has a big problem, that many of our leaders and teachers have to sit down and talk behind closed doors without no media and speak on the problems that we still face here in Azania, our indigenous name, what we call South Africa.
Yeah. All right, cool. Nice one. In 2016, who's your favorite rapper?
In 2016, it's hard to say because it could still be the funk. I'm still crazy about Busta Rhymes and the way he still just flips it.
Wild out, yeah.
I still like all of the harmony sounds of Bone Thugs and Harmony, and then I could go and like some certain Drake's records, and I still like a lot of the true school groups that's still out there making songs. I just don't like so-called radio stations who don't play the old with the new with the old, for they could show true school. Because KRS and many are still making records. Public Enemy is still making records. Africa Bambaataa and them is still making records.
Seriously?
But play the old with the new with the old, for it becomes true school.
All right. You're talking about the true school MCs and performers still putting out music. What is it that's causing that music not to reach people that are at radio level, at radio stations?
I think it's certain people that's ignorant, or certain people that don't want to show their respect to their elders. Every other culture, whether it be rock music, you can have Limp Bizkit, Korn, and all these certain metal and other rock groups, and if Mick Jagger walk in, they give that homage and that respect. If a Beatle walk in, they give that honor and respect. It's everybody in hip hop always say, what's your last record? Whereas in other places of culture, they would play the old with the new. They play everything, and not just being in South Africa and you just playing all American style of rap music. We want to hear the South African rap music. Yeah. We want to hear the music of Angola, the music of Egypt, the music of Europe, the music of Australia and stuff. And mix it all up, mash it up, as they say.
Yeah, no, we definitely agree. I think in the country, in South Africa specifically, there's been a turn where there's a huge interest that's been vested in the local artists. So I think that speaks to that. I think if you're a club frequenter or a person that actually goes to events quite a bit, you get a better reaction if you're a DJ if you're spinning a local record as opposed to a foreign record, which I think is a good place to be in. Yeah.
Well, we hope that these so-called labels and record companies down here will start jiving and faking the funk and start picking up some of these artists, whether it be rappers or singers. I love what they're starting to do in Nigeria and some of these other places, getting the whole music industry together. So the same needs to be down here. This way we could show the talents of our great people that comes out of here in South Africa, Zambia.
Sure. Tomorrow evening, you're going to be out at the Jazzy Rainbow. Yes.
That's the event.
Yes.
Yes, most definitely.
The event. What's the event going to be about? Because I had a whole lot of questions. They've left my mind right now because of this occasion. What's going to be happening there? Like,
I think that the event is for the respect of the African Americans who helped to bring the fight and the consciousness of what happened with the apartheid system when everything was going in chaos and craziness on this side of the world. So they giving some honor and respect back to many of those who stood up and gave the fight from the outside, and giving much respects and honors to Mama Africa, Miriam Makeba, who has woke up so many people throughout the earth about what's going on with our sisters and brothers and sisters over here in Azania, South Africa.
During that era when like you're saying the fight was being held from the outside, is it something you picked up as an eventuality, or was it something you sat back and looked and said, listen, this is something I want to do, how do I carry it through music, records, people gathering, like what made you decide you want to pick up this fight and be a part of it?
Well, I can't say I could be a human being and see chaos going on with my sisters and brothers in one part of the world and just looking at there like you don't give a damn about what's going on. We was going through the same situations over in the United States of America Republic when we was going, whether you a Negro, you colored, or you black, or you indigenous Moor, or other indigenous names that we had to call ourselves.
You weren't a person.
And finding out our history that many try to call a mystery, find out we are the indigenous all over this earth in every corner of the world and even beyond. Some of the Zulus say we are Zulu people of the heavens, but also talking about where we go back to Mars. The Dogons in Africa also knew about Sirius A and B before there was any telescope to tell you that there was another planet. And we always knew we wasn't alone on the planet, so we always talked about extraterrestrial. Now all of a sudden everybody's going crazy on UFOs and beings and all this other stuff. So we have a indigenous past that we can't have in 1 month. That's good, we got Heritage Month, but every month is Heritage Month for our people, and every day is Heritage Day for our people.
All right, no, Nice. Many parting shots. Anything you wanna sort of share as a message to anybody that's tuned in right now?
Well, the message is, as we deal in music and sports and plays, know that that's not everything in the world. We got to come up with some economic plans. You know, rappers, singers, other people who think, we need think tanks out there. We need people to know about economic plans that we could get situations over here in South Africa and get our peoples back into jobs, having their own store, having their own land, and to be just like what the Europeans got, or our other brothers and sisters of the Indian people who are also indigenous. You go to Kurdistan, the original people of India is the so-called black man and woman too. So let's get away from all this, you know, I'm the colours and I'm this and that. We're all the same people by the way of the drum. So we got a lot of work to do and sit down and talk to each other. And we thank you, brother, for having things like this where we could speak certain things over the air and to wake up our people with some consciousness, because we can't just party and bullshit all throughout our life.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir. That is still, and will continue to be Africa Bambata, the originator. Peace.
Peace. Honor.
Gagasi FM, the sound of the city.